Hello everybody, long time no see. I haven't made a video in a while, like 2 weeks-ish, for no real particular reason. I was just sort of busy, and I was like tired, and I had a lot going on, so I just didn't make one. So I figured a good way to kind of get back into it is to start with a book haul. And so at the end of August, I went back and visited my family, and I got a bunch of books that I've had for a long time, but are now in my own personal library. And then I also bought a bunch of books kind of in that time frame, so this will just be a haul of all those things. So we're going to first start with the books that I purchased myself. The first one being Santa Claude by Rita Mae Brown and Sneaky Pie Brown. I read one of these books earlier this year. It's a mystery series with like cats that are in it and other animals. And I really like Christmas, and I thought the books were super cute, and I saw this at the used bookstore, and it was like $2 or something, and it was like a cute little cover. So I thought this will be good to read at Christmas time, so I got it. I also got Blood Trial and Blood Lines, the second and third book in the Blood Quintilogy, whatever, there's 5 books, by Tanya Huff. These covers are super unfortunate because the series came out in like the late 80s, maybe the early 90s, and so that's kind of a bummer. But this series is basically about a cop who works with like a vampire to solve semi-supernatural mysteries kind of a thing. The first book is Blood Price, which I just finished reading and I really enjoyed, and I'm excited to kind of see where it goes next. I also would have bought all of them, except they didn't have the 4th one. They had 1, 2, 3, and 5, but not the 4th one, so I just got the first 2. I also recently bought Austenland by Shannon Hale, which I plan on reading with Elena over at Books and Bears at some point when she stops drowning, unfortunately, in medical school things. This book seems super cute, and it's actually really short. I thought it was going to be a little bit longer. Basically, this girl super likes Jane Austen and goes to like an Austen-themed like weekend kind of deal. Like everyone pretends that they're in like an Austen novel, and it just seems like it'll be really fun, and I probably will like it. And there was a movie with Kerry Russell in it, I think, which I will probably watch after I read it. I also got the sequel to The Big Over Easy by Jasper Fforde, which is the 4th bear, which is like the sequel kind of. So the previous book was about like sort of the murder of Humpty Dumpty, and this book is about the Goldilocks and the 3 Bears kind of story retold. I super liked this book, and I super like The Big Over Easy. I just think the books are really fun. Putting nursery story characters kind of in the real world is super interesting to me. And he does an interesting job with it too. They're not all like grimy and gross, sort of like the Fables series is. It's a lot more humorous, which I really like. And also the cover is super good in the back and stuff. It's really fun. I don't know. And then I also bought randomly, because I saw it on Tumblr, The Little World of Liz Climoco. She's this artist who does a bunch of cute little like animal comics that are like this, and they're really short, and I liked them a lot. And so I just bought her book collection because I thought it would be fun to support her, and I enjoyed her stuff. So this next set of books are books that I've had for a long time, almost some in high school, some from college, some from kind of before then, that I super enjoyed and wanted to have in my own collection. The first being Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. This book is super great. It's fairly similar to the movie. It actually has some pretty decent differences, but if you haven't read Jurassic Park, I'd highly recommend it. Basically, dinosaurs is really all I have to say for you to read it. I also got Memories of a Geisha by Arthur Golden, and even though this book isn't supposed to be super accurate to a geisha's life, I just like the book a lot, and I did enjoy the movie, and it's a fun read, so if you haven't read the book or checked out the movie, I would do that. The movie has a really good soundtrack. I also have this Yarn Harlot, The Secret Life of a Knitter by Stephanie Pearl McPhee, which is basically, this is just a bunch of short little vignettes, short little stories about knitting. And I just thought it was like, it had a cute little cover, and then I actually read the book and I really liked it, and she has a whole bunch of books kind of about knitting, and I'm not a huge knitter. I want to kind of get more into it, but it's just, these are really just nice stories, so if you're a knitter, or you know someone who knits, they probably would enjoy these. I also got The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan, which is this book that I read in high school and wrote this super big paper on, and it was really intense at the time, and I haven't been able to read this book since, but I think it's been long enough now that I can go back and read it again. And I love Amy Tan's books. This one is super good. It's basically stories about these 4 mothers and their 4 daughters, and sort of like their lives intertwine, and like their past and presents, and like how they're all different and the same. It was really good. I also have the very first Harry Potter book I ever had, the paperback one of the first book, that I read like literally all the time as a kid, to the point where my parents just like gave me the second one. I was supposed to get it for Christmas. They're like, please just open this like 2 weeks early. We can't have you read this book anymore. So that's this version. I also have Naked Pictures of Famous People by Jon Stewart, who hosts The Daily Show, if you've seen that. This book is kind of interesting. It's just a humor book with a bunch of little essays. I think my favorite one in here was about this like cult that he has. Not he has, but there's just like this short story about a cult, which I thought was pretty funny. I've always found Jon Stewart and The Daily Show generally to be pretty humorous, so if you like that kind of humor, you'll probably like this book. And then, of course, we have Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones, which I may have already hauled, but whatever. This book is super amazing. If you really liked the movie, you should definitely read the book. In my opinion, the movie was terrible because the book is that good. This book is so good, and I'm sad that they sort of changed the movie a little bit, because the movie had so much potential. Miyazaki, why? I also got Hell to Pay by Matthew Hughes, which is the third book in the Damned Busters trilogy. I'm actually really excited to check this out. The second one really amped up the game for me in terms of the quality of the writing and just the story generally, so I'm hoping that this one keeps that trend going and it finishes really on a strong note. And then we have All Quiet on the Western Front by Eric Maria Remarque, which I read in high school also, and this book is basically just about World War I. It's just the story of World War I. I really, really like war books. I really like this book a lot. I really liked The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien, which is about the Vietnam War. I also super liked I wanted to really like Redeployment, which wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but just war stories are really interesting to me, and this book is really good, and I just really enjoyed it from end to end, and it was a fun read in high school. I also got my copy of Kindred by Octavia E. Butler, which I read in college, and this book was super interesting. Basically, there's this woman who lives in 1976, and it's like the bicentennial of America, and periodically she just gets sent back in time to 1776, where she has to save this really terrible white ancestor of hers, and she's an African American woman, and it's just sort of an interesting sort of dynamic talking about race in America and race back in the day and how things have changed and how they haven't changed. It's got that little bit of a sci-fi element, so this is really cool. If you're looking for something kind of different or unique, or you want to read about a woman of color sort of main character, this I think would be a cool book to check out for that. The other book that I got that I don't currently have with me because I loaned it to my friend was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which I super, super loved. I read it back in May, and I bought it for my mom, and then she didn't want it anymore, so she gave it to me, and it was great, and I super loved it, and I'm happy that I have it back in my collection. I hope you guys are doing great. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!